Oh,
it
really does.
Good evening. How you doing, everybody? It's me, Paddy, here with his friends. We Judd beside me. We've got Mikey over the shuck, and we have our special guest tonight, Slippy from Slipjoint Sawyer.
Hello.
Guest.
Very special.
I am very special.
I do. Can I snuggle up?
Yes, we need to get closer.
We need to get
Need to have touchy elbows. Yes, you're very welcome. Sorry, I got.
Mikey, don't be doing the stare. Thank you very much.
So tonight's a really special show, and it's really special for me because, like Matt's a sort of you would nearly call him a friend.
Well, he's almost like part of the family, isn't
he? He is.
He's sort of like that kid that
that
you disown at
Yeah.
the earliest possible opportunity because he doesn't dress right, he doesn't smell right, he doesn't talk right, he doesn't do that. He does do something right now.
He does do something very right.
And that's what we're going to be talking about.
That we're going to go to his good point. And that is, Slippy has taken the knife mods. Now, he hasn't just taken the knife mods overnight. He started with sacks, I believe. That was your first, run in with it, wasn't it? And then from sacks, he has now moved on to, I don't think it's necessarily solely traditional, but I think mostly traditional, that he's going to be, he's doing mods in them, like he's doing blade deletes, he's doing, you tell us what you're doing, Matt, with the blades. What do you offer as a sort of service?
Pretty much anything you want, really.
You'll have a go.
Yeah, I'll have a go. But blade deletes is obviously one of the easiest ones, but you've just got to cut the pins in half, knock them out, and put a new blade in. But I've done stuff like file work, which I've started doing.
Yeah, I've seen that. We just seen that tonight. It's absolutely go on.
Thanks for a sec. There we
Hang
go.
on, Matt. We're just putting you up big. There we go.
Look at that.
So
That is lovely. That's really, really professional.
On that, I don't think did I bring any other file work ones? I don't think I did. No, but that's the file work I'm doing. It's nothing major, but the file work is possible because Peter Tiffany gifted me some files, which I've been using. Some nice little stubs files. That's all I use to do it. Nothing major. Just some little hand files.
Brilliant. Tippers and the community coming through one more time.
Yeah, I'm trying to use as much hand tools as possible. Now I have a buffer and a sander because, well, but it's a necessity. But I don't want to spend 18 weeks sanding something. But everything else I've got is old. Like this is Taylor's Eyewitness.
Cracking.
That was from Peter as well. I've got some other ridiculous gifts he's given me. This huge.
Oh, look at that!
One of the swords I use. This is USA, I think. Yeah,
That's
Henry.
For like really small knives, yeah.
Yeah, this is just for my small knives. Henry Diston. Everything I've got, I try and pick stuff up at antique places and use that instead. Like even my hammers are all old stuff. Like this is Carl Cammering.
Oh, KCK itself.
CK, yeah. Carl Cammering. Everything. I just try and use old stuff because it's more enjoyable for me to use the stuff that was made to do the job back then rather than some cheap plastic thing that will fall apart in 12 minutes.
Yeah, I have to say.
Yeah, and we've already got a question in the thing, and I suppose I know the answer to this, Mikey. Mike or
Mimo.
What's he called?
Mimo.
Matt. I really had a senior moment there. Matt, can you make liner?
Yes.
Only we don't call them liners, do we?
Webs.
We make webs, Mimo. We make Matt makes webs.
That's what they call liners over at Arthur Wright's. They just call them webs.
There's actually one I've got cut out here, which I'm in the middle of doing for a knife. Judd might know which knife it is.
Oh, really? You going for that one? Wow, excellent.
But yeah, 1.5 mil brass, so slightly thicker than what you'd get on an Arthur Wright by 0.5 of a mil. But I think it adds that little bit of extra weight to it. It makes it a bit nicer in the hand.
And a little bit less flex as well.
Yeah,
it certainly
no flex at all.
Now, if anybody recognizes this knife, this is a Case Crossroads sodbuster, and I just never could get on. It was a beautiful lightweight knife and everything, but I could never get on with the G10 liners. So I asked Matt to put brass webs in it, and he's put the 1.5 mil brass webs in them, and the weight on this, it's just beautiful.
I concur. It is absolutely lovely.
And look at that. I mean, it's turned, which is a fantastic knife.
It's turned an EDC work knife into a knife you could do any because it's just sturdy, feels good in your hand.
But it's taken away the modern side of it, and it's made it classy with an S35 blade.
Yeah.
So it's got
it's lovely.
The steel, the kind of fancy schmancy steel that I love, but in a really traditional kind of pattern. And even the original burlap micarta handle, Matt polished up to a really nice polish that is fantastic. It's a beautiful knife now. It really is.
That's really lovely. So yeah, we're going to get into that a bit more. But Matt, can we just start this one? I just want to start this one. When did you get into knife collecting properly?
Maybe about a year before I started doing my channel. So maybe, what year did I start? 21, maybe 20, like prime COVID lockdown, really.
Yeah.
Just from then, it sort of just went kind of nuts, really.
It's funny, you and thousands upon thousands of others, because we were talking the other night on Tuesday night, we were talking about this. The amount of people that came into this hobby over COVID was just astronomical. We had a huge influx of people. And that's all the better. The more channels, the better. Now, sadly, we were sort of sick. It's kind of dropping off again. A lot of the ones that came in during COVID were really excited, came in, and they'd got this hobby that was all consuming. And then I've noticed this last sort of year or two, they're starting to disappear. You're not seeing people you haven't seen. They just seem to and that's what happens in YouTube. You get an influx because of some reason, and then they start to drift on again.
Yeah.
But you haven't. You have just grown in your own collecting.
Yeah. I don't really see it going any. Don't see it. Sorry, what was that?
Much as we might have wished for you to move on, Matt.
No, you're stuck with me. I told Mikey he's stuck with me. I mean, we've shared a bed now, so it's tough.
More than once. It's like a regular thing now.
It was like 7 days in a row.
But these two won't share a bedroom, Slippy.
No, we're close. We're not that close.
Stephen wants to.
I would, yeah.
Stephen's very keen for it to happen. Like, way too keen, if you ask me.
He's from the Navy. Of course he is.
Of course he is.
That's why I bought an EDC club knife.
Yeah.
Won't have any effect on this.
As soon as I get him near my bedroom, dunk, and he's in.
Yeah. Oh no, he's unconscious. Drag.
Excuse me. My employment contract is very, very clear on that.
How his little Action Man boots fell off. Oh no.
Oh no, the Velcro fly.
So what made you get into the collecting in that first instance? What was it that changed that? I know it was COVID that sort of got you into it, but what drug you into it properly? What was the main thing that got you in once you'd bought your first few knives?
To be honest, I can't really remember. I know I had a climber for 12 years before I even started collecting any knives. That's the only knife I had for 12 years. Pretty much carried it every day. And then I think I was like, oh, I fancy something else. I went to look at Victorinox. Then I found Heine Haynes. And then I found some dumb old Irish man on YouTube who kept talking stuff. And then I started buying modern knives. And then I bought a double D10 and hated it so much.
I approve, brother.
What was it? The CRKT Symmetry. It was basically a drop shutty friction folder.
Yeah,
it was bad.
It wasn't good.
Well, I don't really think there's anything that really dragged me in. It was just sort of that I can't really do anything else. I was still working during COVID, so I'd go to work, come home, and then just be like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And I'd got sick of the. I think I played like on my games console maybe for like 6 months straight after work, and just had enough of that.
Yeah.
So I just needed something else to distract myself. And then spending all my money on knives sort of happened.
Yeah, as it does to everybody at some stage. What
was it then? What was it then that got you? I mean, well, I suppose the next stage, which is well documented, is that you then became a YouTuber, a move that we all regret. But what your latest sort of evolution or evolutionary step is into this working with the knives, which is incredible. I mean, because you only started a few months ago.
Less than 6.
So how on earth did you decide just to go for it? I mean, was it just hanging around Ashley's workshop enough and seeing them do it? Was it your experience with the sacks beforehand? What was it that got you going?
Doing the sacks definitely helped, because you get the idea of how a slip joint works and how bits go together and things like that. But I think for me, it was, I like that, but I want something else, but I don't want to have to go and buy another one of the same thing to have something I want. So for me, it was, well, I can put wood on that I might like. And I just started, I mean, I've got really early ones that I've done that aren't the best. Like I've got this is a case Barlow. This was actually the first knife I took apart. So this was a 2-bladed case Barlow. It was the pocket worn grey Crandall jig.
Yeah.
And it was 2 blades, so I took it down to 1. And I originally had that Thoya burl on it, but it was doing my head in the smell. So recently I put some oak on it.
I've never smelt my Thoya
I
burl.
know, I thought he was just, when he said stinking, it was
no.
But it actually smells.
Actual smell. But yeah, that's the first one I actually took apart. For some reason, I went for one of my most expensive Barlows. And then from there, I bought just a load of just Rough Riders and like some cheap, like real dirt cheap Chinese stuff just to take them apart and mess around with. And then gradually got braver and braver and worked my way up to what I've been doing recently, which is rehandling my Ashleys.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see you doing that, but not surprised, because it's nice to have a wood that you really do like. And then probably the satisfaction of doing it is bigger than everything for you.
Yeah, it wasn't even so much as I didn't like them anymore. The reason I've got one here that I did, it's a knife that I had made for myself and John. So there's 2 of these. Easy open Barlow with a fat spear.
Yeah.
The only reason I changed this, it was white smooth bone, and that KPL had gone around the pivots.
Yeah.
Pins.
I was talking that, and we should say more about that. I mean, that KPL is a lovely oil, and if you're using it on modern knives, you'll never have any problem. It's a good oil. But when you've got bone or stag on your knives, do not use KPL, because it bleeds into them. It's like my first Ashley. I got lovely blue, and it was bleeding red into the top of it.
It stains. It just stains the whole handle material all around the pins and the pivot. It's just a pain.
And I'm not knocking the KPL. That's not what I'm here to do. But what I'm saying is, don't use it on your good traditional knives.
It's for modern knives. Yeah,
it's for modern. Very much. This is what I use now. I don't know what user all. I'm using twisted assisted.
I've got twisted assisted. Currently, I've got twisted assisted in the house, but this was action oil that I got from Blade Show, Texas, but it's all gone. So I just refilled it with some mineral oil. That's it. That's all I use out here.
It's funny, when I first started, that's all I used was mineral oil, and it never there was never anything wrong with it. You just get caught up in the buy things that people recommend, and I'm still doing it now today. You know, still.
Any knife that I'm using, like I'm carrying my Brit Buster, and it's been abused. It's been through cement and all sorts this last sort of week, so it's pretty filth. I just use mineral every time I finish using it. Before I put it away, I just put some fresh mineral oil in it just to wash out whatever's in there.
I'm glad you cleaned that up. Just tell Judd what you was doing with it.
It was in wet cement and gravel and cement bag.
Yeah, that's what they're for.
Yeah, it is.
I can't disagree. Just because I don't have a practical use for my knives.
Well, no, because Judd often gets stuck into scones and sort of jam and cream.
Well, just so long as you're not going into a scone after the cement, do the scone first.
Well, yesterday I did a load of tiling and cement work, and then just made my dinner with the same hands. Does that count?
Well, just not to be one up on you. I was making myself a sandwich last night with this. This is the Forager, another one of Ashley's that I just totally adore as a knife. This Forager, I was cutting tomatoes up last night for my sandwich to put on top of my beef, and then I set this on the counter going to clear up after my mess, but I went into the front room, sat and watched a couple of hours on TV, then fell asleep in the chair overnight. And when I got up this morning, there was rust all over the top of it, completely with just tomatoes. So I gave it a quick clean up today just to bring it, because it was literally lovely bright orange rust on it. And this is an 01 tool steel. So thankfully it didn't do it any harm at all. But yeah, knives are for using.
Slippy, there's one from Mark. I mean, would you recommend the mineral oil bath to get sand out of slip joints then?
Something as thin as possible to get sand out. You don't want anything that's going to grip. Any gritty knives I have, I literally flush them out with this.
Right.
That's just a WD-40 substitute,
Well,
isn't it?
solvent cleaner, it's like contact cleaner.
Yeah.
Not even a lot. If it's sand in there, because it's got enough pressure behind it, it'll knock it out. It's literally just.
So it's really
that's
the
it.
pressure to actually move it on as much as anything.
Yeah. And then because it's solvent cleaner, it's alcohol, so it'll dry in seconds. So give it 10 minutes, put a bit of oil in it, you're done.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're already getting on to our topic, Steve. Well, we're already getting on to the topic, but we're doing maintenance as much as anything else.
This is the other thing is, where do you see this venture of yours heading? I mean, you're doing great work, man. I'd like to just show some of your knives there. Do you want to show that one after I do this one? This, I sent you a GEC to do for me, and you've done this.
Which was, yes, people, I did actually hear the collective intake of breath, as he said, GEC. Yes, Stephen was the first to hand over one of his good knives to Slippy to actually have a go. And honestly, it was well worth it, because then the rest of us started doing it as well. So
I had confidence in his work. I seen he was really, really having a go at it. And I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You maybe have to get it rehandled again. Do you know what I mean? It's not as if it was happening. So he done this one for me. This is a number 15, and it was in snakewood, but it was very, very dark snakewood. You couldn't really see the pattern anymore. I think because I've had it for years, and the person before me had it for years, and it's sort of whatever, it just dulled it, and there wasn't a great pattern. But there was always a crack in it from the fella I bought it off. Well, I didn't buy it. He gave it to me. I actually, in the end, donated some money to charity because he wouldn't take any. But it just was, I love this knife. I love the easy open. I think with the easy open at the back of a 15, it is just perfect, really perfect. And he put this in, and this is basket wood, or basket wood. It sounds like a French wood, but maybe it's not that.
I can't remember where it's from. I can find out, but I can't remember.
It is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous green.
Beautiful, it really is.
And the grain that you find on your wood is it's sort of a pattern with it, because this is one of Stephen's IXL Barlows. And look at that. I mean, it's an English oak, isn't it? English oak.
Yeah. And that's all it looks like before I do anything with it. It just looks plain.
Yeah, and it's just fantastic, the green on that.
And not only did he do the thing in that, I just want to show the back spring. This was all very rough filed. This had never been, this was a traveling salesman's knife. And he had obviously got somebody in the shop to throw one together. And it wasn't filed in the back. Apparently it was a bit of a state inside as well. So Matt cleaned it all up, and just, I can't tell you how much this is just a fantastic, it's a bog standard IXL, if you know what I mean. But I mean, with that, when you get the stamping on the bolts like that, it takes the bog standard out of it. It just looks amazing now. I absolutely love it, and it's now a carryable knife.
Mikey, what about you? You've had a few from Slippy as well, haven't you?
Well, I too, somewhat controversially for like some people, but I gave Slippy my GEC 65.
I can agree with that. That's a good effort.
Look at that.
So this had the tortoise shell, which wasn't. It was just plastic.
No, it was taut ass shell, is what it was.
It was absolutely shocking. It was terrible. It had been on there for 10 years, which in my eyes was 10 years too long. So it came off, and now it's a proper GEC.
Yeah. And is that the English oak again?
That is oak again. And then I had a small accident with my sword when I sat on it, and the plastic handles broke. And Slippy said to me, "Don't buy some custom handles. I can make you some out of wood."
So there's nothing the man can't do.
So all he kept was the screws and the blade, and he made me 2 handles from mahogany, and he put a little liner in the middle from the same wood, and it's still fully adjustable on the pivot. And he's done that for me, which is absolutely fantastic. So much nicer than the plastic.
Oh, and it is. I mean, it makes that knife just come to life completely.
And it makes it nice and grippy too, and nice and tactile.
Yeah, and warm in the hand, as they say.
Indeed.
Okay.
So, do you see yourself going into touching the blades, maybe doing thinning out thick blades, doing, sort of more?
I started doing bits and pieces like that. So, especially with older blades. So, if you have a knife where the blade's pretty messed up, for example, if there's a spear on it or something, or a clip's sharpened too much. So, this Venture blade I've got here was a spear point, a little spear point, but it was so messed up, I turned it into a little lamb's foot.
That's just lovely.
That's very cool.
Because I know it's quite thin at the end here, but it was a lot worse because it was just round here and it looked like a snapped pen blade, basically. Oh. But I am looking at trying to do my own blades, as in, because you can buy blade blanks and you can buy blanks of like $10.95 or something. Yeah. I will try something like it. Just I'm not quite ready to do that yet.
So if you are going to go blade blanks and things like that, what about tang stamp there? Slippy?
Well, Mikey, how do I answer this without giving anything away?
No.
No.
You've ordered one.
No, watch this space.
Yeah.
No comment, but watch this space, people. Okie dokie. So, Slippy, thank you very much for giving us that introduction into what we're going to be talking about pretty much. It sort of shows you what's possible at the minute, but I suppose this sort of notion, this was Mikey's idea, just and that we all agreed with in terms of, we've talked before about restoring and modding and changing the knives that you get, and the real thing about it is, why would you do it? And Stephen's classic all-time great question is,
mine was, if you've got to change something on a knife you bought the wrong fucking knife.
You've bought the wrong knife.
And that was my idea on that subject completely. I just couldn't. But to be honest with you, that thought I had is when I liked modern knives.
Yeah. Terrible knives.
You were paying £200-300 and then changing the scale and then doing. And I go, well, why did you buy it in the first knife if you didn't like it? So I mean, I couldn't understand that. So that was. But now that when I transitioned into traditional knives, I never really thought about it again. And every time that question came up, I answered it. And then Slippy started doing it. And I'm going, do you know, that makes sense? I'm buying a knife for £30-40, or £50, whatever price it is, my GEC, but what? And I thought, well, even if I when I pay Slippy for this knife, it's going to be less than what a brand new one of them knives would be. So then it clicked, that makes sense now, because I've that ingrained in myself. I'm not going to buy a knife and then change it, because then I've bought the wrong knife.
Yeah.
So I have changed completely from Slippy started doing it.
Well, it's not so much that it's wrong, it's an upgrade now, isn't it, really? Yeah. Because it's your knife, it makes it more personal, especially if it's not a one-off knife. If it's like a run of knives, and you've now got, well, just like the one that I showed, they all come with plastic handles. I've got wood. It's completely different, and it just changes the knife to me.
Mikey, think back to what you just said.
No.
No, okay. Let's try not to. Slippy's trying desperately not to laugh.
But yeah, it just makes it a lot more sort of personal to you, not the knife.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the upgrade part of it, because there's only a few exceptions, like my GEC in that Gabon ebony, or however you say it. I took that off because it had the 2 little pinholes for the shackle, and that really bugged me, so I got rid of that. But a lot of the knives I take apart, it's either like really basic wood, like for example Arthur Wright's Iki, and Mikey had a Barlow, and I replaced it with Wenge.
Really nice, no doubt about it.
That's gorgeous.
So it's a nice Wenge on that.
Yeah, I'd be on the side of that as well. I like to have lots of different woods. Simply that. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, Mikey's got other Iki knives anyway. So, I mean, it's just, I love to have that mix of knives with lots of different wood. Yeah. And makes my, when I go into my drawer, I love seeing a whole range of different woods.
Yeah.
And that's the most exciting thing for me.
For me, I mean, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future, especially I'm coming close to retirement. I'm watching Slippy go through his journey at the minute.
Yeah.
It is just fascinating to me, because when I get more time, I can see myself getting more and more interested in it.
Absolutely.
Because my journey, I had very similar steps to Slippy, in that when I got into the Swiss Army knives, I then started modding the Swiss Army knives. I just took my life into my hands, took one apart. And once you've taken one apart, that's all the fear gone, really, isn't it? It's just, once you take a drill to those pins and drill those pins out, and the whole thing comes apart in your hands. Yeah, you didn't even use a drill, did you?
No, I don't use a drill, Judd. I get a Stanley blade, wedge it in between the things, and smash it with a hammer.
This is one that Judd made me in my Carta, and it's still my favorite Victorian ox. And Judd was very good at doing it. It just, Judd wasn't as fast, but you were more very meticulous, nearly.
I don't know if I was more meticulous. I was very slow.
Yeah,
meticulous.
I didn't want to say that. I'm trying to be polite. We're on TV here.
Thank you.
So he made me this one, and he put the blades that I wanted on it. And this is just me only. This is this one. It's got the inline screwdriver, the magnifying glass.
Is it the scientist with the Phillips?
No. It's got two blades, the main blade and a small blade, and that's all it's got. And it's got another, and I use this blade on this side, or this blade. Well, it is a blade, but this Phillips I use when I want to get a bit of torque, because I don't want to run the head off the one I've got that's in line, because I use it all the time. So I use this for when I got a bit of torque and I want to do it, because it's easy to redo again. And I adore this, and this is probably one of the best multi-tools I've got. Bar none. I just love it.
But that's what Matt was saying. It's sort of that. It sort of almost comes down to that frustration with not having the right tools on it that you want, and then realizing that you can put them together. And Dan, of course, we can't talk about modding without talking about Dan Bridge.
Well, he does it with 3 fingers, so he's
exactly. Has he still got the 3? I thought he lost them by now. Yes, Mikey, bring that one up.
There's a quick look at one Matt made. Oh,
sorry.
It's all right. That doesn't matter.
Go, Mikey.
These are a couple of Dan's. So this is the one in Kieranite that was done for Sharp Show 24. Sorry.
I think that one's stunning.
Yeah.
This is a 84mm. This is one that he'd done with blue liners. But
is that a Huntsman?
Mountaineer.
No, it's a Mountaineer. And then these are 2 customs that Slippy did though in my Carter. But look, I've got exposed pins.
The pins are just beautiful.
And it's just that variation on them. I mean, I never got to the point where I could do my own scales or do the inline pinning and everything like that. And it eventually got to the point where Dan was so good that I just gave up, because he was doing things. This was my little Grail knife, which was an 84mm golfer, which he did with brass liners, no keychain or key ring or whatever like that. And it's just a fantastic little knife. But it just starts to open your eyes to what's possible with modding, and with making a knife that is yours, as Mikey was saying, and with making a knife that is definitely something a little bit different.
Yeah, this is one that Slippy made for me. I wanted a work tool, and this is what I got: my inline screwdriver. I got my magnifying glass because I'm bloody blind, which is fantastic. And this is a huge but. I've got a pair of pliers, which are just great for working with knives. I mean, I'm an old man with jitters. I could pick a little screwdriver up with this, or not screwdriver, a screw or anything like that, to hold little small things together. This is just perfect. I love this. Them 2 knives sit in my desk and are used on a very regular basis. Very regular. So yeah, I mean, it's just, and you know how to pin anyway. So,
but that's what I was going to come on to, and we've got a couple of questions for Slippy as well, because it was something. Pinning, taking a knife apart was absolutely no problem for me, and I really enjoyed the use of power tools as opposed to the Philistine way that Slippy goes about it with Stanley blades and hammers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But putting the knives back together. See the painting of pins. I was never ever happy with it. If you take the scales off some of my mods, the abomination that lies beneath the scales on my modified Swiss Army knives, I could. People were asking me to do Swiss Army knives and then asking how much they were. I wouldn't charge them for fear that they take the scales off them and see the abomination that I created.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Were you using the ball part of the hammer or the flat part?
Oh no, it was using the ball part of the hammer.
That's where you're going wrong.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Seriously.
So tell me more.
Well, there's only real ways if I show you, so I'll have to make something up. So I'll show you in a bit. Carry on, then I'll
that will be great to watch.
That will be great to watch, because shall I tell you a thing, Matt? Now you say that. If anybody wants to have a look at somebody, a master doing some painting on a Swiss Army knife, look up Dan Bridges' Instagram and watch him paint. I would tap away for hours. Dan just puts it in a vise and just goes whack once, and that's it, done. And he's obviously doing the same thing that Slippy is with the flat of a hammer. I never had the heart to do it, but it was absolutely fascinating, just in terms of that's how I learned how to take apart a knife and put a knife back together. And as Slippy said, it's how you learn how a slip joint particularly works. So, Mikey, what about you? I mean, because you've done certain modifications on knives yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done little bits and pieces. I've obviously changed scales on sacks. That was probably where it started. I've done a little bit of grinding of blades, putting on some swedges, and then polishing them up again. But really, my small mods that just seem like a DIY job, really. Now I've got Slippy on the case. I send everything just like to him, and he does pretty much everything. And if there's something that he's not done before, he'll just give it a go.
Yeah, it is kind of our lazy man way out. It really isn't it, Mikey?
It's a huge plus for traditional collectors, because you can buy them at reasonable prices. And if it does go wrong, I mean, you just give Slippy carte blanche. If it goes wrong, goes wrong. Tough luck.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can fix it, you put something else on it. But you're not worried about the financial aspect of a £200 knife you're giving somebody and they muck it up. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
no. That's the truth. And I mean, let's not forget. Okay, let's go. I mean, we're talking about modding and changing your own personal knife. So let's have a quick look at some of the options before Slippy comes back and shows us something real. So Mikey mentioned changing scales on a Swiss Army knife. That's probably one of the first mods that anybody does. And then, I mean, first of all, you can change the colors of your knives with other Swiss Army knife scales, but then you can go into the custom jobs of micarta scales, which are really transform any Swiss Army knife into something a little bit of quality. And then you've got wooden scales if somebody does it. But it's not just Swiss Army knives. You can also do it with modern knives like the UK PK, and you can mod with replacement scales, and even send it away to someone like the Stig, who does beautiful. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, blade is lovely. Yeah,
it really is.
On acid watching or pattern developing and things like that. Fantastic options. Now, none of these are cheap. So I mean, it does factor in what Stephen was saying about, have you bought the wrong knife? Maybe, who knows? And then you get simple things like this. Now, this is a knife I bought on the secondary market, but the thing about it is that this is the Manix 2 Salt. The handle on this used to be bright yellow. So the modification that the guy did on it was just a Rit Diet black. And that's another option as well. I mean,
you're not a diver. You haven't bought it to go diving.
Exactly.
And have it to be fluorescent.
I like the bright yellow, but I have to say it was a really good price for it. So it was one of those. But I didn't mind it not being in that. But you've Rit dyed the scales of Jack Wolf knives for me, and that's transformed
You still got that original one,
I've
haven't you?
got both of them. The
Right.
one you did in blue from the grey, and the one you did in the burgundy from
that's right.
or some other a green, I think it was, or
Uh-huh.
something. But writ dyeing, certain, especially my card, it takes really well, and that's an option for modding as well. If you want to try something fairly low level skill
Yeah,
wise.
and even on bone, because Mikey, you've got one of mine that I writ dyed the bone. Didn't you
Oh
get
yeah,
one?
was that the little GEC 15?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little PC and a bit of dye, and that's as far as I go. That's as far as I literally don't go any further. I think if I was more Slippy's age or whatever, and I had all the tools, I would maybe give it a go, because I'm sort of at the stage now. Well, a bit of bottle. I don't want to wreck somebody's knife, and I don't want to wreck my own.
Exactly.
And Mikey said it. I mean, when Slippy's doing, I'm quite happy to give Slippy money. Oh, here we go. Let's go see this.
I took it apart.
Let's get you up first.
Talk to us, Brian.
You just took it apart.
Yeah, that case I showed you, I just took it apart. But it's the only thing I've got here that I don't care about. So all I'd really do is some knives you can leave pinned here, and they call it like the butterfly method. So you can do this and put the scales on like this. So you can pin them like up here, wherever the pin mark is here.
Yeah.
So you don't have to take the pivot off if you don't want to. But obviously, if you do, it's a lot easier. But with the pinning, it's
so
I don't want to make it sound like it's easy, but as long as you're patient and careful with it, I'll pan the camera down to show you. But the best way I found to do it is trying to get the pins in is a bit of a pain. So if it'll pan down. Where's my vise?
That's it. Oh, you're coming to the vise, or we've got you.
So you'll see that the spring will stick up above the liners.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't put that pin in there, otherwise it'll bend, and then that's how you get wet action. So you have to sort of jam it in the vise to press the spring against in as if it's got tension on it.
Okay. So that gets the orientation of the spring right.
It also gets the blade in the right position so that it's not canted too far up or too far down.
Okay.
And then make sure you angle a pin so it's like a nail. Otherwise,
there's the secret.
Otherwise, it'll be absolute ass to try and put in. And then you just want to tap it in. Can be a bit fiddly, but you have to sort of just bear with it. It's a bit like a needy child.
You mean Stephen?
I'm all for hitting children with a hammer.
So once you've done that, then you end up with this.
Careful. Excellent.
So now you'll have the action. And then all you got to do from there is sort of line up get one side of the pins as much as you want. And you're probably going to hear some grinding noise because I'm going to have to grind them. So sorry about that. Unless, Judd, you want to mute me for a couple of seconds?
Yeah, I can do that. So what do you mean? Are you just grinding the ends off?
So you can see there's excess.
Right. So there's excess. Don't you just
normally there'd be a lot more brass, and I would sort of snip them and save some little bits for pinning on liners, but the bits there are so kind of pointless that I'll just sort of flatten them out, really, to be honest.
Right, because Matt, we've got a question about how do you get it flush with the scale? Do you pin or do you just grind it down?
No, pin so that it slightly swells out over the top, and then you sand it so that it's still domed but smooth.
Right, gotcha. And okay, so I've got a follow-up question to that. Go ahead. I'm going to mute you while you do your grinding. But that's just incredible. That's
honestly, I have. We've been out doing our little knife hunts, and I have picked up knives at somewhere like Malvern at the antiques fair. 2 I've given to Slippy on the day to take home with him to rehandle. He's then driven 3 hours home. I've driven 4 hours home. 2 hours later, after he's got in, he then sends me a picture of the knife done and rehandled. That's how fast he is.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredible. So what have you got? You're up again, Slippy. Go.
So you get to the point where your pins are a little bit sort of exposed either side.
Yeah, a little bit prone.
And it needs to be more than you think. Otherwise, it'll either disappear inside the liner or inside the wood, or it'll just crack the wood. So I've got Tiff's railroad track, which he gave me for an anvil,
I love that. Love that.
which works absolutely perfectly. And a tip I got from Ashley actually was when you go to pin something that's got a gap, like a channel, you want to put something in there that's the same width. It'll keep it together. So I've got just, I don't know what knife this is, just some random terrible blade, and you just sort of jam it in the channel like that.
All right.
So it holds the channel square.
Without
So you don't
any bending or warping.
Yeah, so even if you maybe peen a bit too much, this direction, it won't close the gap.
Yeah.
And then flat part of the hammer, and it's literally just like. And then you end up with that.
Fantastic. You bastard.
And then you sand it.
And then that's literally, I just get, what have I got? Some 600 grit. And you can get rid of the blade, and then your channel stays nice. And then you can literally just go nuts with sandpaper.
Okay, so my follow-up question, and this is a stupid question, right?
There's no stupid questions.
Oh, well, listen,
No.
wait for it. How do you avoid damaging the wood when you're peening like that?
Okay, so you don't half the knife until you've peened, but this one was already halved, so I had to be careful.
Okay. Right,
So,
I'm not sure what that means.
There you go, look, nice and round.
That's fantastic. And that was just a bit of sanding.
Yeah, that was 600 grit for a couple seconds, yeah.
That's amazing.
So when I say not halved, so I would sort of shape out, where's that liner with the drawing on? So I would just sort of shape out the scales like this. Imagine the knife is sort of, all built, put together.
Yeah.
And then I would leave the scales cut out, but, square, if that makes sense. Just flat, not curved, not rounded or anything.
Right, gotcha. So
it's a lot easier to peen onto flat because there's no excess pressure either side. It's just even.
Right, and then the hafting is the shaping of the scale itself.
And that's why, especially a lot of traditional knives with that backspring pin is going to be up at the top, usually high, close to the edge, and it means that you don't have to, you're not having to pin it on an edge.
Yeah.
It's already flat, so you're just
you get to pin it on the flat surface, so you haven't got to worry about if it's gonna fall apart.
Now, but I wouldn't have guessed that. That made so much sense.
Yeah. So I hope that answers some of the questions. We had questions from Catherine and Roger and James, I think. So hopefully that's answered those questions. I mean, Elan's got one here. What's the difference between pinning scaled and a pivot?
So the pivot, you need to it needs to be a bit longer than you would for the scales, because it needs to be fully domed over the top. I don't think I've got anything here that's going to work as an example. So I've got some pins here if I use the brass. So
again, would you the main pivot, does it go right through? It goes right through everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you do that before you exactly the same? You do it before you sand, before you finish.
The pivot, yeah, I would sort of peen it so that it's sanded, but it takes a lot more brass or whatever nickel silver than you would think at the end. You need to have about this much showing.
Wow, that much?
Yeah, because you've got to dome it all round, so that when you sand it, it stays thick enough that it doesn't just, you don't get this going on where it goes inside.
Yeah, gotcha.
God, that's so interesting.
It really is.
It really makes. I can't wait for you to try that.
This is, Slippy, honestly, you're an inspiration to me, because this would make me get back into it. Because the one thing I really enjoyed, a few years ago, I went and did a knife making course up at Hot Milk Forge here in Ballymena, and it was fun hammering on the anvil and messing around with the coals and everything. But the surprising thing about it that I really enjoyed was the working with the wood on the handle, which I'd never done before. And I think, honestly, think it's something I could probably get into.
Mhm.
And some of the stuff that you're turning out is unbelievable.
It's for me. It's therapeutic. It's relaxing. That's why I do it so much.
Out of all of that, Matt, what do you find the hardest to do? What has been the hardest to learn how to do it?
Not smashing everything so heavy with a hammer.
Oh, there's my problem.
There's the amount of scales. Mikey, I've been on the phone with Mikey, and I've just been gone like said words I won't say on your channel, and then I have to remake.
Split. Yeah, scale split, liners. Yeah.
The worst is I don't know. I think I've got a knife here with arm. But I can show you Mikey's bunny knife I did for him.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Let me bump it up for you. Where are you?
So this was just in like the boring plastic.
Yeah, it was in just black plastic. Or Delrin, whatever it is, yeah.
But, yeah, so the hardest thing would be, for me, was always the pinning the cover on, because it's so little wood here.
Yeah.
It literally can be one extra tap and you get a crack right to the top.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, that's what that wee mammoth knife I got from Ashley. He was making that because there was a bit of mammoth left over for the customer. And he said, would you like me to do your wee penknife and use it up? And he done it with the wee penknife. But the very last tap, it cracked. And so it happens to the best of them. It's not something that's...
Yeah, but you can't tell. There's no... But that's why I like Buffalo, because with Buffalo, you can tell what it's doing, because when you start hitting it, once you start peening it, you'll see it start to bulge when it's about to go, and then you can just stop and sand it.
You see, I always was under the impression that Buffalo
would crack.
Yeah, if you dropped it, your knife's gone.
Buffalo is hair. It's horn. It's hair.
It's very fibrous. It's very much like my Carter.
So there's some there.
That's gorgeous. That really is beautiful.
I love the feathering on that.
Plus, it doesn't take a lot to really work with it. It's one of the easiest things to work with, and even to sand. I only sanded that up to 1200 grit and buffed it on my buffing machine, and it's like a mirror.
There's a question that I wanted to ask. I was asking you earlier on. I got this knife, another one of Slippy's finds, and I just want your advice.
Let me see if I can get this over there. There you go.
This is an old George Wilson home that I got off Slippy. Lovely old knife with a lamb's foot. Oh, listen to that snap. That just gives me the excitement. But it's a bit dull. It's got a bit dull on here, and I want to buff it up. And I know that sounds like a simple question, but I've got a very basic buffer. Is there a buffing wheel you can recommend to get to do that sort of thing?
I don't have anything fancy. I have just one of the cloth buffing wheels, but soak it in mineral oil. When it comes out, with a stiff toothbrush, and just buff over all the wood, all the bone, dry it off, and then on the fiber wheel, just with some green compound on the buffing wheel.
Right.
That's it. And then to clean it off afterwards, because you'll get the black residue from the buffing wheel, just then redo the mineral oil with the toothbrush just to get it out the crevices. That's it.
That's it.
Wipe it off, you're done.
Mineral oil to take it off afterwards. Yeah. And then give it a quick buff, just a quick buff, nothing too extensive. It doesn't take a lot at all. That's good. Well, I'll give a go at that, and I'll show that on the channel. What if I make a good job of it?
Well, I can show you an example of that if you like. I've got stuff here that needs to be done. All right, let me go and get it, and then come back to me.
Okay. Will do.
I can see in your eyes that you have got the. I'm going to have a go at this.
I am. I think.
I can see it in your eyes. You're buzzing.
But one thing's for sure, it's going to need a much lower workbench.
I've got a very low. Well, actually, I don't have a normal size workbench, but I do have steps up to it, so it works both ways. You're a cheeky beggar.
It's going to look like Santa's little helper, isn't it? Working away, making toys.
Yeah, I love that comment. He's taken his enjoyment of the hobby way beyond.
And our craft again. And I mean, Mikey, where do you think, honestly, where do you think he's going to go before we get him back?
Where do I think he's going to go? I think his next step will probably be that he's probably going to try and get some kit knives and start putting those together from scratch.
I just think he'd buy blade banks and put them in the old knives that he's got.
I
can see him. I see when you say the next step, we would all like to see him grinding blades and that. But then so then he's going to need a different set of grinders. And then he's got to learn how to do batch springs, but he's going to have to learn how to do heat treat as well, which is even more kit. So I think it will happen, and I think that's where he's going to go till he makes his own knives, and he will make his own knives.
He has got so much for 6 months, and he's gone through doing Swiss Army knives to an extremely high standard.
Yeah.
And to now onto this. And the painting, the taking it apart, the deleting blades. I know he says it's easy.
But he makes it look, he does.
Well, I did test him. I gave him that 1940 to 64 case trapper, didn't I? With a lovely worn jigged red bone. And he was and he got hold of a 2017 brand new carbon steel yellow Delrin trapper, and he transferred the new blade into the old knife, and that was jigged red bone. And I thought that's going to crack, or it's going to it was just absolutely perfect.
I know, but it just keeps on getting better and better. And I think, Slippy, you'd say, but I hope you'd say yourself that you do like experimenting and pushing it on to the next level. Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah, I like pissing about. Pretty much is what it really comes down to. I like doing something until it breaks and then trying to repair what I've broken.
Yeah.
And here, where did you get your love of doing it? Because I know the answer to this, but where do you get your love of sort of taking things apart, restoring them? Where does that come from?
So my father's always been really good with his hands building stuff. Like, we're doing full property renovations pretty much by ourselves. But before that was my grandfather. He's always built stuff. He was always, anything he wanted, he built it rather than went to buy it. And he was always, as early as I can remember, he was always building stuff with his hands. He was big into his carpentry. So it all sort of started there, to be honest. And I've always done it, but I've never been as good at it as I am now. I was always too heavy-handed, or I'd rush. But now I've just got to the point where everything's just completely slowed down. I do everything at my own pace, as quick as I want, when I want.
Yeah.
And I seem to have calmed down with the sort of ruthless aggression at doing everything so quickly. So it just made everything so much easier.
Yeah.
You
also, sorry.
There's just a couple of questions.
Go ahead,
Slippy, Gila Country's asking, what do you do when you put it back together and the blade gets stuck when closing or it's stiff?
Okay. I actually had this question from Mikey the other day. So the best way I found to do it, I haven't got any where it's stiff, but we'll use the case because it's here. So I take it you mean once you've pinned it and it sort of just does this.
Oh, okay.
The best way to do it is you get a punch slightly larger than or thicker than the channel. Put the punch like this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you put it on, obviously on your anvil or whatever, and you just tap the punch till it just goes into the liners. Take it out, see if it's too loose, too tight. If it's perfect, close the knife, and then re-tap your pivot.
Wow.
And then it should do that afterwards.
Simple, yeah, simple. These are, for any of you out there, these are great little simple. Even I can follow these.
Okay, we've got a follow-up question from you from Gila Country, who is he's desperately picking up as much as he can. So you disassemble all the pins, including the pivot pin, but you actually said that it depends on whether you can do the butterfly.
Yeah. Pivot, so the butterfly thing I will only do if I can see inside the knife and it looks clean. If I'm not going to rebuild a knife if the pivot's still going to be absolutely filth. So 9 times out of 10, I just completely ditch everything and use my own pins. Like, I've got my own brass pin stock here. Like, I've got a little pot. This is 2 mil pins, and that's literally what they come like. It's literally just a rod.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll sort of cut them down, make them, shape them. It's into just, so there's the pointed head to go into the middle, and then you don't need quite so much for the end pin. But yeah, I don't reuse any of the pins at all out of any of the knives, because I've had knives where I've gone to do the butterfly method, and then when I pulled them open, the nickel silver pins just sheared itself.
Oh, really?
Where it's seats. So I don't want to do that and have the knife fall apart when I'm practically reassembling it. So no, I don't
Unless
use
you're
any.
unless you're 100% sure of the quality of the pivot, you'll take it apart, right, and build it from. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
that's the thing, though. We've given Matt, and Matt's had some really, really old knives, and when I say they're in a state, when he takes them apart and he sends me like a picture of the liners and the scales, and some of them are disgusting. You wouldn't put your hand anywhere near it.
Yeah. There's a lot of them, especially it's always the economy sort of style knives. So the black pressed plastic Arthur Wrights, for example, something like that, or Rogers, because they're just a cheap knife. People just use them and then get rid of them. The amount of those that are full of like leaves, twigs, cotton wool for some reason,
matchsticks,
everything, and then you take the knife apart and it just falls out, and it's just like
Yeah.
We've got one last one in terms of technical. We've got a couple of questions from Andrew and from Ollie about bolsters. Ollie sort of covers it both with a little bit of complication in terms of how do you get a tight fit with the bolsters, probably, and the pivot, because some of the bolsters can be angled.
Okay, so with that, I don't think I've got any here that are angled. I mean, this one's slightly angled. You'll be able to see that's got a slight angle on it. Just about.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
All I would really do with that is go onto the. It's going to put you sideways. You just have to deal with that for a minute. Onto the sort of sideways sander, and I would just take the flat bit of wood and just do angle by angle till it fits. Just so you
try and see and just try it again and
yeah.
So, and then you make yourself an angle on a bit of wood. Obviously, that's going to be completely wrong. And then you just slowly get towards where it's going to fit. And then, to be honest, that's actually pretty good. And then, you would just sort of, once you're happy, you can then either some bolsters, especially the rat tail bolsters, because they're rounded that way as well as this way, you have to sometimes put like a little groove in here as well. So you have to make it, see it's flat, it's got an angle, and it's got a big groove in it. Do you see what I mean? And then you have to find out where it fits best in that position. And then from there, that's pretty much where your web's going to be. You'll have to hold it like this, is what I do, or clamp it. I'll drill the I should really use a vibe.
Safety first,
yeah.
Look who's talking.
That will hold it in the correct position then to do the rest.
Wow,
so clever.
And I started wasting brass because I was making just little pins to hold them together, but I've got some stainless steel, and that's a good tip for people. Get yourself a couple sizes of pins that are in stainless steel so you don't waste your brass. Because then you can just use that to assemble the knife till you're ready to pin it together, then you can just swap to the brass.
Yep. Because you don't have a good word to say about stainless steel pins, do you?
No, I hate stainless steel. It absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this is probably the worst stainless steel ever because it's actually rusting.
Oh dear. So not stainless there?
It's stainless adjacent.
Here's one that I was delighted with. This is my Shing, and I got this as part and parcel of that. We were all going mad for Shing knives, and because he makes such bloody good knives, apart from anything else. I got this on the second-hand market or in the secondary market, and it was in G10 and pale blue. And the longer I had it, the less I liked it.
It looked like a case work knife.
It did. It was just so insipid. Yeah. It really was. So I just thought, you know what? I don't really want to sell it, but because it's such a good knife. It
Uh-huh.
really is such a good knife. And so I sent it to Matt and said, Matt, can you do? And he said, yeah. I picked the micarta and gave me a choice of it. And then he look at this.
It is just
Look at
beautiful
this.
in hand as well.
Look at that color. And I mean, all of a sudden I've got a brand new knife.
Custom.
And it is.
Well, it's
brand
like
new.
getting a new knife, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
That is the beauty of
Absolutely.
it. A beautiful, brand new knife. But the funny thing about it was that Xing tends to do the more modern variations of his knives with stainless steel pins. Matt doesn't approve of that, even though it
No.
doesn't match up. But I don't care. It just looks fantastic, and a little bit of brass, and it just pops.
Tell me this, Matt. Most custom makers use stainless steel. Why would that? Why would they?
Because they're wrong in the head.
Well, apart from their mental issues, is there a reason why? Is it easier to control?
No, it's stainless steel is a pain in the ass to pin or peen because it doesn't want to manipulate as easy as brass or nickel silver, but it is cheaper.
Right. Can it be that much cheaper that's going to make a difference to your
nickel silver? Yes, nickel silver is a fortune.
Right.
Yeah, the prices shot up on nickel silver, as Arthur Wright's told me recently. Yeah.
That's a nice answer to that question. It just makes it, that's why they
Plus,
would use it.
I'd imagine stainless steel is easier to use on a CNC machine. I can't imagine brass that bends working well on a CNC machine.
Yeah.
I'd say that's that. One last question from the audience. And I think this is it might be a fairly obvious answer. I think Stephen even knows the answer to this one. What would you need to do? What if you need to tighten the pivot, Matt?
Hit it with hammer.
There you go.
I actually done it during the week to one of my knives that had blade play. Which one was it? Was it one of the GCs?
I will give a bit better explanation than hit it with hammer. Hit it with hammer on block of wood.
Oh,
there you go. There you go. And that will help. And also cover your bolster with something as well.
I just put it on my vise, put a little cloth around it, put it on my and just whacked it with a hammer until it tightened it. And now there's no blade rock on it.
Yeah. If you're a bit scared, use one of those rubber mallets. That'll work for it because it's brass. It'll bend when you breathe on it. But I use a bit of wood because the bit of wood's got enough give that it's not going to dent anything, but it's hard enough that you can pin on it.
It doesn't make that sound though.
Now, Mikey actually starts to get physically pained when we start talking about hitting things with hammer because he's more of a vice man, aren't you, Mikey? Yeah,
well, certainly for the knives like the Bucks, because they're brass bolstered and brass pinned. Two blocks of wood in a vise and just slowly put on the pressure, then take it out and test it, and then do it again, and then it tightens them up. Lovely. But if it's a different knife which maybe hasn't got a flat bolster, then just whack it really hard.
Or even one of those nylon hammers, like the ones that got the Thor hammer.
Or a dead blow or something.
Yeah.
I have that one's got brass on one side and hammer on the other. But
that's like a little fretting hammer. Yeah, that would do it.
I just use my big house hammer for doing my bolsters. This is piddly. I can't get a good whack at it.
Yeah, no, you need to take a run up, I think.
I'd sit on the top of my bag there and take it out.
Do you know what I really, really like about this is that Matt is doing this in such a way. It's very oldie weldy, He's doing it all with old hand tools because he doesn't like new tools. He likes all the old tools. He's got all the old hammers, all the old saws, and he's doing it all by hand, just like a certain cutler that we're all a fan of in Sheffield. He's doing it exactly like the same way. He takes the pins off like the same way with a Stanley blade and a hammer and just cuts through them. It looks and sounds brutal, but it's done in such a way that when you get the knife back, it feels special again.
Yeah. Oh, there's absolutely no doubt about that.
Oh, look at that. That was an Ashley. That's an Ashley. Was that an Arthur Wright?
No, this is just an Arthur Wright I did for Mikey.
Oh, look at that. Does he know?
Yeah, he knows. So this is just a standard spear point, which I put a lamb's foot blade on, and a half stop.
That's just beautiful.
I've filed the blades, so the lighting has gone terrible in here. It's getting dark. Filed the blade all the way down, and I tried to match up as best as possible, where the break is.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
And that speaks to it. That it's the file work over that you've started doing recently that speaks to what Mikey was saying. Is that obviously you getting into the file work now is a reflection of what you've seen Ashley do and your exposure to some of that. I mean, I say obviously, is it, Matt? I should probably be asking a question.
The file work is, yes. There's only one thing I've taken from Michael May, and it is the little spacer at the tab. And Mikey actually suggested I use some of the offcuts to do that. So this is an offcut of bog oak, and then this is regular oak. And in the sunlight, it's hard to see, but the grains actually nearly line up.
Fantastic.
That's
amazing.
That is, you see, that's craftsmanship. That's not just modding. That's craftsmanship. That's making something.
Oh, we're talking at different levels.
Yes, absolutely. But pretty. And the other thing, when I was asking the question, what else do you do? You and your father also do cars as well. That's what I was sort of hinting at. You actually take apart, fix, mod, do it.
Less of the modding now, more of the restoring.
Yeah. So I mean, you've hidden talents from wood, from cars, from whatever. It's just talented, damn you.
I know. Sickening, isn't it?
Is that jealousy, Stephen?
It's more like try until it breaks and then fix it. It's more. It's not really talent.
But also for a little community like ours, and especially in the UK, which we're a much smaller concern, to have somebody to do this is fantastic. I mean, my little GEC now has been carried more since Matt done this than it ever did, because Matt done it. And I like to show people here. Matt did that. It's just crazy.
But I think it's the breadth of talent across the community, for want of a better term. It's because Matt's doing the modding now. We've got Dan, who introduced or really took the sack development. He does other knives as well in terms of restoration and modding and changing and customization.
But he does lawnmowers and everything.
A whole different thing. But then you've got the other side of things, which is the carry options. So you've got Griff and MJ Hoods in terms of the sheets. You've got Lynn, who is now doing her own purse slips. Mrs. Naked John, who's developing fantastic leather work out there, as well as a number of other people who are doing their own goods, all handcrafted, and it's all on the back of this hobby, this stupid hobby that we're all involved in.
And it really does. And Mikey said it a couple of times tonight. It really does make the knife, the slip, or like Stig doing them on the blades, the acid washing and all that, and he takes your knife apart and cleans it and everything. So, I mean, we've got now a full spectrum of people. You can send a knife, whatever you want to do. It's lovely to have that. We can dress it up with sheets. We can have it. It's just marvelous.
Because we've been talking, and I mean, Mikey's been going through his whole, and we're going to be talking in a couple of weeks about, we're going to be recounting Mikey's knives. That's going to be another highlight, Matt, to see what kind of progress are
I'm at 16,500.
Hey,
I'm there to my count as well.
And it would be interesting to see, because I've got to a point where honestly I like the knives that I've got, and I can't see myself trading any more of them away. But what I can see myself doing is maybe changing out handles, or asking for a little bit of fancy on it, that kind of thing, and to have those options to breathe new life into your collection.
Amazing.
It's just game changing, really.
So one question before we go on, because I'd like to put this up. If somebody wants to have a mod done by you, Slippy, the one thing that, when I asked you this beforehand, the one thing that I want to make completely clear, if you're sending something for a mod, you might get it back in 5 days. Or it might be 5 weeks. It just depends what time, because Slippy has got a full-time job. He's actually building his house up, or his parents' house. They're doing extensions and all sorts. So don't worry about timescales. It'll come back when it's ready. You don't need to ring every 5 minutes and say, is it nearly there yet?
And the other thing that I'm going to say it, because Slippy's not going to say it, is that if you're going to do this, Slippy doesn't do this as a business. He does this as a favor and as a friend. No, he will charge, and he should charge, and he's not charging enough, is what we would say. But here's the thing. It's at your own risk. When we send it to Slippy, we trust him and say, look, if you ruin the knife, you ruin the knife, fine. that's I think that's got to be the way you go.
Yeah, it's
you
not a
take a
business.
chance. So because there's always a possibility, and I'd hate to think that Slippy would feel responsible for destroying a knife that somebody gave him.
Well, the
the
fact I sent
expectation
him
that
a
it was a
G-
guarantee.
The fact that I sent him a GEC
And I
cleared
sent
that
him
up
a
for me.
shame.
I've got to be fair. The chances of your knife getting destroyed, I think you got
No.
more chance of the handle being done, and you might not like the material when you get it back. So if like something goes wrong, he can like put it right because
Yeah.
it's because the knife is like fully stripped, so he can get to every component. So it can be put right. There's nothing that's going to go really badly wrong unless something like a bat spring snaps. You know.
And
Yeah.
but that's what I think. But I'd like it to be clear that it's them's the chances you take,
But
because it's always a possibility when you take a knife apart. Because I'd hate to think that it would spoil Slippy's enjoyment of this, because that's why
like bolsters ping off the webs, but they're only soldered on. Like one of Mikey's Barlow's, the bolster pinged off. I just resoldered it.
So
Like-
as Mikey was saying, you could probably address any issues. I just want some kind of cover out there for you, Matt.
The other thing, I had spoke to Matt earlier about this very thing, about cost, and we sort of, he gave me roughly a price, but I said, have a think about it before we go out tonight. And this is just going to give you, it's not going to give you a price for everything, because that's impossible, because there's so many different things. Just to get scales changed, what price is a rough price, depending on the wood? Give us a rough price.
If the knife is clean and I've got the wood here, I'll do it for 25 quid.
Right.
Which is enough to pay for a bit of my time, a bit of the wood I've used, a bit of the brass. That's it.
That's a stupidly good price. Trust me.
Ridiculous.
A stupidly good price.
What he meant to say was 250. Make checks payable to my PayPal account.
But no, I mean,
Mikey Newman at
and where's the best place for people to order it, Matt?
Email me, slipjointsawyer@gmail.com.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Don't be surprised if within the next two weeks you get Slippy's books are closed.
Yeah.
Right. I will say I suck at replying to messages, so I will reply just in a bit.
Yeah.
Slippy, will they'll find your email address on your channel, won't they?
Yeah, so the top of if you go to my channel and click more, it'll come up there.
So the best way to do it is go and subscribe to Matt's channel and boost his numbers, and maybe you'll get an in.
So here's two of the knives that I'm sending to Matt this week. Well, you know what, my next week. I'm a bit like Matt. They'll come sometime. But these are two. You can see the way this has been repinned so many times. It's starting to crack and all. But I'm sending these two knives to get recovered. We've talked about the wood. We'll keep that a bit of a secret. But I just want you to see the knives. And then you'll see them when they return, because I'll do a video of them. I'll actually take a picture this time and keep it to put up in the video. Excellent. So we'll do that, and we'll revisit just to see what Slippy can do. As if from the show to you. Yeah. And I'm paying for them too, by the way. This is not a favor for. Right. This is I'm getting paid.
So what we'll do is we'll draw this to a close. Fascinating, and as much as we could talk about this all night.
Yeah, I could go on. This has been one of the most interesting.
It's fantastic, and it's lovely to see the man at work. I have to say, Paul Buggle has been dying for you to answer this. Maybe as part of your next steps, Matt, you could look at designing and developing a new handle shape for a traditional knife.
Yeah, I can have a go at that.
There you go. Watch this space, Paul.
How exciting is that? I mean,
we could call it a buggle, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could call it the buggle.
Do you want to see the dull bone looking not dull?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, look at that.
This is one of the 80s Schrade Wustenholmes.
Lovely.
And it's just, I've not really done anything with it yet. I've had it for a couple of weeks. It's just a bit lackluster, really. There's a little bit of shine there, but these bits at the end are pretty dull. Literally all I do, I'll go on the buffing wheel and buff hell out of it, and then put some mineral oil on it, and that's literally all it takes. It's just a little cloth wheel, nothing fancy.
Yeah, mine are even
green compound. Apologies for the noise.
Oh, I can't hear it. As far as the price goes, I mean, you're usually buying a lot of these now second hand at a price you can really afford. 25 quid on top. Well,
Absolutely.
As you can see, he's using a Clark motor. Other tools are available.
Product placement. Thank you. Our sponsors for tonight's show.
That's literally as long as it'll take to do something that's really dull. Which side have I done? That side. And I'll just wipe it on some cloth. Cotton's the best because it's slightly abrasive. Just to get a lot of that. And anything with grooves in, you can use a bit of mineral oil just to get the junk out, but this seems pretty good. So there's the before side, and then there's the after.
Oh, that's popping. Look at that.
Yeah, that is just lovely. Right, fantastic. So that's dead simple. I will be doing that tomorrow myself, and I might just make a wee video of doing it, but I want to do the first one.
Did you have any
compound
or anything on the
green compound?
It was just green compound, yeah.
Just a bit of green compound works lovely. Lovely bit of polish that. And
it's not even expensive stuff. It's just like whatever that is, silver tech, just polishing compound. Big. I thought I ordered a small brick, and then this came.
That'll last a couple of weeks, probably.
3 weeks.
That's what all my girlfriend said.
Well, that was one the same size before, and that's what's left of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of polish in there, Matt.
And Matt, do you use that green compound in the buffer for doing your scales and the back springs and all that? Yeah, that's because that's what I use. I don't do
It'll even work. It even works on wood, dark wood though.
Yeah,
so that's just some Wenge, and it'll even you can buff that.
I'd love to see Paddy doing this because I can see about 6 knives all being stuck in the plaster.
Stuck in the ceiling.
Yeah, hang on to them.
Where's the point? There'd be this haze of sawdust as all the wood gets brown.
I'm going to do this one off camera just to make sure it's easy.
The only difference with wood, soak yourself a cloth in mineral oil and just give it a wipe over, and that takes off all the compound that's left over.
Would you not do the same with bone? No.
Only with bone if you can see it on there, but because bone's a flat surface compared to porous wood, it's a lot less sticks.
Sorry, the jigged bone.
Jigged bone like that, jigged, yes, definitely.
Yeah, because it's quite spiky. It's still, it's a lovely scale on it. Oh, look at that! That's amazing. That's nearly like my Carter, for goodness sake. Shiny my Carter. It's beautiful.
That's kind of matte, and then.
When you buff up some really nice textured wood, it just comes up so well. And when it starts to like dull again, you can just do it again.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
You can do light woods, but you have to prepare that it's going to get a bit darker. It will go black to start with, but as long as you're quick cleaning it off while it's still warm,
grain a bit. Yeah.
As long as you're quick wiping it off and with mineral oil, it should come off without a problem.
Right. Fantastic. Amazing. Slippy, I can't thank you enough. This has been an absolute joy tonight.
And actually the hands-on demonstrations have been brilliant. Andrew Lindsay said earlier on, and it's something I think I've mentioned to you as well, Slippy, I honestly do some more videos of you at work in the workshop. I think we would watch them religiously if you did.
I know I would.
Yeah. It is just fascinating.
Even though I'm not going to actually do it myself, you'll probably do it. But I just like watching it.
We live vicariously through them.
Absolutely. I never thought I'd say that sentence.
But there will be more videos like it. I just need a bit more room to do that because behind me is just about eight trees.
Can you just show people the sort of size they said you've built to do this because you've all your machinery?
I can try. It's very dark outside.
Oh, sorry, mate. Oh God, it is.
Yeah, it's gone dark now. Nights are closing in.
I don't think you're going to be able to see. I can try.
But he has built this. Him and his dad have built this fantastic big. Thanks, MB. It's been a joy to do. Very fortunate. That's the width of his double door shed, Buster's bunker.
There's no lights in there yet, so you're not going to be able to see. But it's a big old workshop. It's probably too dark, but it goes all the way down to the end where the drain pipe ends.
It's a fantastic space, and I can't wait to see it all fitted out for you, because I would say you're going to have some fun in there.
But this is where I am currently, just
And
jammed.
all of that wood is just for Sean's knife handles.
I know. Knife and fork handles. Yeah.
Fork handles.
Fork
Handles for forks.
Any last question from you?
Slippy, thank you very much for joining us. I think I'm all questioned out. Everybody has been delighted to see you, and thanks for sharing all those tips. You're a fun bro, and beautiful, beautiful work. And thank you for the work you've done on my knives.
Yeah, it's absolutely changed a few of mine completely. I was going to say Matt. Mikey, that chap up in the corner there. Do you have any last questions?
I do not. No. That was very, very good. I mean, I'm sure we can revisit Matt in a couple of months' time and see what's new going.
Once he gets into that shed and has it all set up, and so yeah, brilliant. All right, take care, everybody. Thank you so much indeed, Matt. A huge thank you, Matt.
Welcome.
And we'll see you on next break.